Magandang araw, Blue Heroes! I am very excited to welcome all of you for this special session that we have entitled Boosted Laban at Work, Spark Joy by Tidying Up Your Workspaces. I am Renilyn Castillejos, a certified KonMari consultant and a tidying coach. Andito ako ngayon para bigyan kayo ng suporta dahil alam ko marami kayong mga tao inaalagaan every single day. Especially when it comes to your workspaces, gusto ko pong imagine ninyo ano bang itsura ng inyong clinic, ng inyong hospital pagpasok nyo everyday. Marami bang gamit? Marami bang mga kalat? Or masaya na ba kayo kung paano siya ngayon nakaayos at paano mo siya nakikita? Importante po kasi sa bawat space that we have is that it sparks joy for us para meron tayong boosted laban every day. In the days that you have to take care of your patients, you always have to make sure that you take care of the most important person in your life, and kayo po yun. Kayo po yun ating mga Blue Heroes. And so, as I go through this presentation, at kapag meron po akong masabi or meron po kayong ma-realize na, teka lang, sabi ni Ren, kailangan maayos yung opisina or yung clinic or yung workspace, pero hindi pa ganun yung aking lugar ng pagtrabaho. But kung hindi pa, I want you to remember two words. Be kind. I want you to be kind to yourself because in the many years that I've been helping people tidy up their spaces, alam ko po na walang tao na gustong makalat yung kanilang mga spaces or pinagtatabakuhan. But sometimes there are many things that happen in our lives. So I want you to be kind to yourself because definitely I'm here to support you to allow you to have a spark joy space. Siguro rin iniisip nyo, naku si Ren, tidying coach siya, baka naman bata pa lang siya, maayos na yung lahat ng gamit niya. I want to share with you that once upon a time when I was younger, mahilig din po ako mag-kolekta ng mga gamit. I used to collect all sorts of things from pens, notebooks, stickers. At nung nagre-reflect ako kung bakit, it's because when I was younger, my parents were always busy at work. At every time mauwi sila, meron silang pasalubong para sa akin. And yung pasalubong na yun yung naisip ko na it's a reminder of their love for me. And so what happened was, as I was growing up, naging mahilig akong magkolekta. I felt I became a shopaholic, and I was really doing a lot of retail therapy kapag medyo malungkot ako or medyo maraming nangyayari sa buhay ko, thinking that an item or a specific product would make me happy. But then when I got married in 2016, my husband is a minimalist. And so hindi po niya maintindihan bakit ang dami-daming gamit sa bahay namin. We have such a wonderful relationship, but when it comes to the space in our home, which is a shared space, dun po kami nagtatalo. And I just really wanted to improve not just our home, but also my relationship. And so I decided to follow the KonMari method. I discovered the book of Marie Kondo. And for 3 straight hours, I decided to just tidy up my home. And sobra po ako nagulat because the benefits that I experienced after I saw my tidying room was really life-changing for me. And that's where I decided to share the work that I do of tidying with as many people. And that's when I started Europubi, which is my local tidying brand. And now, maraming pong salamat, Blue Heroes, for allowing me to share my passion with you. Because I do hope that when you learn about the KonMari method started by Marie Kondo, you'll learn that it's a very simple way of organizing your spaces using the simple philosophy of spark joy. Dito po tatanungin ninyo, lahat ba ng gamit na meron kayo ngayon sa inyong clinic, does it allow you to do your best role possible? And I really want to share with you that when you tidy up your spaces, your clinics, you'll experience all of these 5 benefits and more para meron tayong boosted laban every day. You'll experience better time management, increased productivity in the work that you do. You'll also be able to improve your finances, financial management, kasi kita na po lahat ng nangyayari. Meron din pong improvement sa laban ng katawan with your physical health and well-being, and more importantly, sa laban ng ating isip at kalooban for our mental health and wellness, which is very vital today. So isipin niyo po, just by simply tidying up, you'll be able to experience boosted laban not just for yourself, but also for your patients and in your career that I'm sure you greatly value. And with this, I'd like you to remember this very important thing that I've learned in the many years that I've been working with my clients, that your internal condition is reflected in your external surroundings. Pagtingin niyo po sa litratong ito, I hope that you feel the peace and the calm, and that you also know that this is the kind of space that you truly deserve. And this is what we learn together as we journey through the tidying method in the next few minutes.
Remember, whatever your preferences are pagdating sa favorite colors, your aesthetic style, or whether you like it to be minimalist or maximalist, know that what is truly important is that it sparks joy in your life. Or ika nga, it gives you boosted laban at work and even at home. What do we need to do first? Importante po na magkaroon tayo ng plano. Pero bago magkaroon ng plano, alamin muna natin, saan ba nanggaling itong konsepto of tidying up? Marie Kondo was the woman I introduced to you at the beginning, and siya yung gumawa ng KonMari method of tidying up. And it became very, very popular in organizing people's homes. Pero as the many years passed, there were a lot of people who were asking for tips. Paano naman ayusin ang aming mga workspaces? Kasi maayos nga ang aming bahay, pero pagdating sa aming mga opisina or in your case, in your clinics, kailangan din siyang i-organize at tidy up. And so, in 2020, Marie Kondo teamed up with an organization psychologist, and the name is Scott Sonnenschein. So, silang dalawa, perfect combination because you have an organizing consultant who definitely is aware that our spaces affect our internal condition, and you have someone working with organizations and different companies just to study how does the workplace affect us internally. And ang nangyari po dito ay nagkaroon silang book called Joy at Work. And this is what I'll be sharing with you in the next few slides so that hopefully pagpasok ninyo sa inyong mga clinics at kung saan man kayo nagtatrabaho, you'll be able to feel the Spark Joy lifestyle. At definitely, meron kayong boosted laban every day. Pero allow me to just let you reflect on this. Meron bang connection pagdating sa clutter and a person's well-being? There have been many different studies, and in the Joy at Work book, Scott Sonnenschein says that clutter overwhelms the brain. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Kung marami tayong nagkikitang gamit around us, kung maraming kalat sa ating surroundings, whether we know it or not, it can be something that affects how we think, can be overwhelming. Pangalawa, clutter can lead to emotional exhaustion. Yung tipo, pagod ka na, gusto mo na lang magpahinga, pero nakita mo ang daming kalat. Sometimes you feel upset, sometimes you feel, or you ask yourself, bakit mo ang daming kalat, hindi na ako makapokus sa aking trabaho. And lastly, this is on the more practical level, you sometimes lose valuable time when you need to search for a patient's record, when you need to search for your equipment, or when you just really need to search for your own things. Kaya natin sinasabi na clutter and well-being, they're very much connected. So at the end of the day, if you have a tidy space that works for you, your well-being will also be on the more positive side. So sana excited na po kayo. Sabihin niyo sa akin ngayon, okay Ren, ready na kami. Medyo naniniwala na kami na kailangan na namin ayusin ang aming mga opisina. Where do you start? I'd like to offer 3 very simple questions that you can ask yourself. Gusto ko po tignan ninyo or imagine ninyo, anong itsura ng inyong clinic today? And when you look at that, or when you remember how your spaces are organized, kung ano yung unang-una mong nakikita pagbukas mo ng pinto, I want you to ask these 3 questions for each and every item that you have with you. The first one is, when was the last time that you used a particular item? Baka naman sobrang tagal na. Baka 3 months ago, 9 months ago, or maybe years have passed. Hindi mo ginagalaw yung isang gamit, pero nandyan lang siya. And maybe it's time for you to say thank you and say goodbye to that item. Second, what is the condition of the item? Minsan meron tayong mga gamit na medyo kailangan ng palitan, hindi na siya gumagana, or minsan bago pa siya, but you see and you know in yourself that you will not need the item anymore. Baka hindi mo na nga rin siya tanggalin sa box. So, with the condition of the item, you always want to connect it with usage. And last but not the least, how often will you still use the item in the future? Maybe it's taking up a big space in your office, but you just will use it every year. Kung once a year or twice a year lang siya, baka kailangan natin tanungin, baka may ibang space na better para magamit ninyo itong pinaglalagyan ng malaking area for something that is very, very valuable to you. Because my dear Blue Heroes, I want you to remember that overabundance is not the same as experiencing joy. Remember nung bata ako, kunento ko sa inyo kanina, na minsan akala ko kailangan ko yung napakadaming gamit. Yun pala, ang gusto ko lang ma-feel is yung kasayahan o namimiss ko yung parents ko. And so when you look at your offices today, when you look at your clinics and workspaces today, are there a lot of items that you're holding on to just because you think you'll still use it in the future or feeling ninyo sayang? But the KonMari method of tidying up reminds you to reflect on how you can live in the present. Sana po hindi tayo nabubuhay sa nakaraan or sa future na hindi pa nangyayari. Because when we do that, and when you have limited space in your workspaces, it's inevitable that you need to rearrange or you will not have enough space to focus and experience the things that are truly valuable. And so, I'd like to remind you that when you do the KonMari method, you just need to master 2 basic skills. Madaling-madali lang po ito. Unang-una, you want to know what sparks joy for you and discard the rest. Easier said than done. Minsan po kasi yung mga simpleng bagay, yan talaga yung hindi natin nagagawa. Pero tanungin lang ninyo, alin ba sa lahat ng kagamitan ninyo ngayon sa inyong workspaces brings you joy? And aside from bringing you joy, alin ba yung nagiging instrumental for you to be the best in your career? Kung hindi na, then I want you to come from a space of gratitude. I want you to say thank you to each and every item that you will decide to discard. Minsan po kasi feeling natin nakaka-guilty. And remember, there is no place for guilt when we're talking about tidying up the KonMari way. Yung guilt minsan nanggagaling from the fact that baka hindi tayo nanggagaling from gratitude. Because once upon a time, all of these items made you happy. But maybe for now, it's time for these items to have a newer home, and it's time for you to experience who you truly are, knowing that the present is the most important. The second skill that you need to master is to designate a parking space for all of your items. Isipin niyo ngayon ang inyong workspaces. Lahat ba ng gamit na meron kayo has a permanent parking slot? Ano ibig sabihin nito? Saan nyo nilalagay ang inyong alcohol? Saan nyo nilalagay yung thermometer? Saan nilalagay ang mga medical records? Remember, if you don't know where each and every item goes, ang pwedeng mangyari dyan, isahanap lang kayo ng lugar kung saan pwede ninyong mailagay. And this is when clutter can actually start. So at this point, I want you to think, lahat nga ba ng gamit na meron ako sa aming clinic or workspaces already has a home, already has a parking space? Kung wala pa, do not worry because there's time for you to figure that out when you go back. And so to summarize, in order for you to know the 2 basic skills, you just have to remember what parts joy for you and discard the rest and designate a parking space for all of your items. And now I'm very, very excited because I'd like you to know the 6 basic rules of tidying up by Marie Kondo. Ito, pagdating sa tidying up, pwede nyo itong gamitin sa bahay or sa inyong workspaces. And for now, we will be focusing on all of your workspaces. The first step to follow is commit yourself to tidying out. And yes, you heard me right. Commitment, commitment, commitment. Meron po ba dito sa inyong takot mag-commit? Meron ba sa inyo ditong ayaw nang mag-commit? When we're talking about the commitment here, it's really committing to yourself and knowing that even after you finish this physical and tiring journey, it's going to be worth it because at the end of the day, you'll end up with a workspace that sparks joy for you. Second, it's important for you to imagine your ideal lifestyle. And we're talking about ideal lifestyle, I want you to think in specifics. Ano bang itsura ng gusto nyong ilagay sa inyong mga clinics? Ano bang kulay ng pintura? Ilan bang cabinets ang kailangan nyo? Alin ba yung nakikita ninyo? When you think in specifics, you give yourself the ability to choose and not just accept anything that the world or the universe gives to you. Minsan po kasi kapag ang ating mga workspaces ay hindi talaga natin pinag-isipan or napag-isipan, nangyayari dito, hindi natin siya may enjoy in the best way possible. Step number 3 is you need to finish discarding first. I believe this is what makes the KonMari method of tidying up unique because we always have to discard. Hindi po muna kayo bibili ng storage boxes, hindi muna kayo mag-organize. Iisipin nyo muna, alin ba yung kailangan kong tanggalin na? And I'd also like to remind you to be responsible when you discard items because we definitely have a great impact in the environment. So sana wag nyo lang pong basta siya itapon, but you ask yourself, alin ba dito yung pwede ko pang maibenta, pwede kong ma-donate, or pwede kong maibigay sa isang tao na gustong-gusto niya. Remember, please do not give your items to someone who doesn't like it just because you want to keep the item still. Tip number 4 as a basic rule is we need to tidy by category and not by location. Kung marami po kayong gamit, 100 man yan, 1,000, Marie Kondo has simplified the rules of tidying by dividing it into 5 simple categories for the home and 4 simple categories for the workspace. Pagdating sa category, which I'll be showing you in a bit, it's very important that you follow the right order in the sequence. Hindi po tayo nagta-tidy up by location kasi minsan marami tayong pare-parehong gamit na nasa iba't ibang lugar. And so kapag nag-tidy tayo by location, baka meron tayong ma-discard na mas bago kasi hindi pa natin siya nakikita. And as a reminder, tip number 5 is follow the right order. Kahit po mas gusto nyo magsimula dun sa mas madaling sequence, do not do that because there is a reason why we have to follow that. And it's because it's arranged in such a way that it's from the easiest to the hardest. Para pagdating ninyo sa huling category, tidying up will just be very easy for you. And last and more importantly, I want you to ask yourself if each and every item still sparks joy. Because if it doesn't, maybe it's time to say thank you and to let go. And so, pagdating naman sa mga categories, I hope you take note of this. Kung meron po kayong mga notebook dyan or mga journals, just write this down. When you're talking about tidying up your workspace, we start off with books, followed by papers, and then we look at komono or the miscellaneous items. So ito po yung everything that's not books or papers. And we end off by doing the sentimental items. And if you notice, the sentimental items is last. Because once you're done with the first 3, more or less, mas alam nyo na kung anong nagbibigay sa inyo ng spark, joy, effect. And so the sentimental items won't be as hard as you think anymore. And my dear friends, our dear Blue Heroes, kung gusto ninyong gawin ito sa bahay, simple lang naman ang inyong idadagdag na category sa unahan. You will start with your clothes. Clothes are the easiest category in the KonMari way dahil kahit masyado siyang marami, it's easy for you to figure out alin ba yung gusto nyo, alin ba yung hindi nyo na-style. And you just follow it off with books, papers, komono, and lastly, sentimental items. Ayan, sana po matandaan ninyo yan because you have to follow the right order. Hindi siya pwedeng pagpalit-palitin because reminding you again that these categories are arranged from the easiest to the hardest. Ngayon, I just want you to reflect, ganito ba ang itsura ng inyong dream space or dream clinic? This one has a lot of items with a proper parking space. Or maybe, if you look at this photo, does this place make you feel relaxed? Baka naman po yung iba sa inyo, ganito na yung itsura. If yes, congratulations. I hope you keep it up. Pero kung hindi pa naman, remember the 6 basic rules that I taught you. It's going to be easy basta meron tayong commitment. For some of you who might be working from home at sometimes at meron kayong virtual consultations with your clients, ganito rin po ba ang itsura ng inyong work from home space? Importante lang naman talaga that each and every item has a permanent spot for you to put it back so that you can also access it easily. This is definitely your work from home space that can be a possibility. Or this can even be your workspace in the clinic that can be a possibility. And if you're sharing your space with other people, I just want you to remind you to have a conversation with them and tell them that hopefully you'll both be able to maintain a space that truly sparks joy for all of you. Now that you know the different categories and the different order, allow me to share with you some practical tidying up tips for your workspaces or clinic area. Pag ayusin na po ninyo ang inyong mga libro, it's very important that you store medical books vertically. Kapag po kasi siya patong-patong and arranged horizontally, sometimes it's harder for you to get the items at the bottom. It's helpful as well to combine books belonging to the same topic so that you'll have easy access. At kung meron din naman kayong kasamahan sa opisina, madali nilang makukuha ito. Bibigyan nyo lang sila ng simple instructions. In the next category, when you're dealing with papers, remember that papers really are best discarded. Manipis nga mga papel, pero pag nagsama-sama siya, kakapal at kakapal siya, and it takes up a lot of space. So if the papers are not needed anymore, I hope that you can use a shredder, especially for confidential records and items, and discard it as soon as possible. Pagdating sa kimono or miscellaneous items, I noticed that this is usually the largest category for a lot of the people I help. And when you deal with your own kimono items, you have to think, what are the subcategories that you use in your own practice and in your own career? The simple rule to follow is you just have to make a list and put together items from the same subcategory. So this can be medical equipment, this can be medicines, this can be different records that you use, or maybe this can even be displays that you have at the offices. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure that every item has a permanent space. And last but not the least, syempre meron po kayong mga sentimental items. You want to know what or which of the items contributes to still making you the best person you can be. Pagdating sa sentimental items, sana po hindi po nyo sila itatago. Sana you'll be able to display it, to see it, and to enjoy it for a Spark Joy workspace. And so mga Blue Heroes, we've reached the most important part of our session. Ito yung paano ba natin magiging sustainable ang ating mga lessons learned at mga activities so that you'll be able to definitely enjoy a Spark Joy workspace, not just for this year, but for the many years to come. So I want to share with you how you can keep your habits truly sustainable and make sure that you and your patients will be able to enjoy a lot of the things that truly matter. So unang-una, I want you to commit to your tidying schedule. Pag sinabi natin tidying schedule, you might ask me, Ren, gaano ba kahaba ako dapat matapos? And here I will return by saying to you, I want you to ask yourself, how many hours are you willing to commit per day? How many days do you want to do your tidying journey? For others, they might finish for about 1 to 2 months. For some who are busier, minsan umaabot ng kalahating taon. But the guideline I want you to remember is, the longer you wait, the longer you really do not give yourself the chance to have a Spark Joy workspace. So make sure that when you think about your tidying responsibilities, it's not just an activity that you do when you have extra time. I want you to make your tidying activity an essential part of your day. But also be realistic that if you only have maybe 1 day to spare per week, that's okay as long as you commit to it. So once you know your tidying schedule, you need to make sure that you determine the month, the day, and the year so that it will be a reality very soon. And aside from that, kailangan din po meron tayong support from the people around us. I want you to choose an accountability partner, not for them to remind you that you need to tidy up, but rather for you to share with them the successes and maybe even the challenges that you're experiencing. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, tidying up the KonMari way is a very personal process. At dahil personal po to, importante that when you're tidying up, you're doing this on your own as well. Minsan po kasi you don't want to be hearing other people tell you, ay, huwag mo na munang i-discard yan, kailangan mo pa. You need to make the decisions on your own. So remember, tidying schedule and accountability partner. Another tip is at the end of each day, I want you to tidy up your work desk every single day. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Parang nagre-reboot kayo at the end of each work day. Minsan kasi when you're tired, you might just really want to leave your things as it is. But if that happens, think about it. The next day you come back to your workspace, ganun yung maaabutan yung kalat. Ganun yung maaabutan yung itsura. So why not, as you go through your whole day, make it your end of the day marker that you tidy up your workspace. And kung pwede, I hope that you'll be able to see a big part of the desk clear and tidy. This is very similar to you telling yourself that, okay, I'm done with my work time, now it's time for my rest time. And this is also something that will enable you to truly experience a spark joy end of day. Another thing, especially if some of you are still doing a lot of Zoom meetings, if some of you are still doing virtual consultations, importante po na hindi lang natin naayusin yung space that people see. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Your background is most of the time something that you're always worried about. Naku, kailangan kong takpan, baka makita ng mga katrabaho ko na makalat yung bahay ko, or makalat yung workspace ko, or makalat yung clinic ko. And so, what you sometimes do, maybe you'll tidy up the background area, forgetting the most important space, which is the space right in front of you. This is the webinar space that no one sees. Because again, I'd like to remind you that when we tidy up, we really are doing this not for other people, but most importantly for ourselves. Because the benefit of tidying up is something that you can truly experience coming inside of you if you are definitely having a spark joy workspace. Dito papasok ang ating boosted laban para kahit ano man ang kailangan nating harapin every single day, we're able to do that with big smiles. Thank you very much for the time that you spent in really reflecting on what are the things that you'd like to keep, what are the items that you'd like to discard in your workspaces. And most importantly, thank you for choosing a deadline for you to finally imagine a spark joy workspace. And to cap our activity, this is something that's very, very important. We will be supporting each other with a boosted Laban at Work pledge. Sana po, kapag nahihirapan kayo, pwede nyo itong balikan at pwede nyo basahin. And remember that even if we're not physically together, the Blue Heroes community are here to support you as well. And so if you're all ready, please read with me. I state your name, commit to tidying up my workspace by keeping only what sparks joy and letting go of what does not. I promise to practice this in my workspace every day para may boosted laban for me and my work area. Reading that pledge with you, Blue Heroes, truly sparks joy for me. It gives me boosted laban to know that you are part of so many individuals who have committed to tidying up para may boosted laban at work tayong lahat. And before I go, I really just want to remind you that whenever you're thinking of tidying up your workspace, kayang-kaya nyo na ito. It has been an honor to share the stage with all of you. Thank you very much for being open to the tidying lessons, and I truly learned a lot from all of you. This has been Renalyn Tan Castillejos, your certified culinary consultant and tidying coach. I wish you a tidying journey with boosted laban every day.